Hello and welcome to another video from me, Rough Swordsman, Wargamer. It's part 3 of my playthrough of Point Blank, V is for Victory. Squad level tactical game designed by Sean Druelinger and published by Lock and Load Publishing. It's been a little while since the last video due to real life situations, but we're hopefully back on it now. The only problem is it's been a while, so I hope I don't forget a lot of the rules. But in the last video, we saw the Ox and Bucks recon for a better piece of terrain. But unfortunately, the Germans have put a spanner in the works and the Brits are unable to reach that building. Instead, the only available terrain for them to move into is clear terrain. And they have to move because last time we put a move action on that stack. The Germans also had a go at firing at these units here. Unfortunately, they were not successful. And because it was a fire action, I thought I had to put a fatigue marker on them. But because that action caused that unit to be spent, they wouldn't have got a fatigue. So thanks for Sean Druelinger for pointing that out to me. We also have these flanked by these units here, and it is now the Brits' go. And so we look on the upkeep phase. First thing, resolve melee and overrun attacks, resolve terrain placement, and resolve movement. So we have a move marker on those units. We could refuse that terrain. Some terrain can be refused, other terrain cannot be. And I was a bit confused at the beginning. I thought it meant you can refuse the terrain being placed. Now I think it means you can refuse to enter it. But we have a move action on our units. And to stop that move action, we would have to, in the impulse phase, use our action to discard a card and get rid of this move action. If we had a recon card, we could move into this sector and then play the recon card and hopefully replace it with this, but we haven't. So what I might do, we know that wood building's in that sector somewhere. We'll move into that clear terrain, a bit of a risk, I know, and then in the impulse phase, we will do another move action, but a special type of move called an in-sector move, which will allow us to search out, hopefully, the wood building. So in we go. Whoops. Into the clear terrain. Fingers crossed. But of course we are spotted. I think we can remove that now, as there are no units in that terrain. So what are we going to do? Well, we'll do what we said we were going to do. This comes off, by the way. We're going to do another move. So we discard that. But we're going to do an in-sector move to try and find that wood building. Unfortunately, that will increase their fatigue. Whoops. We can see if we can use our leader. Sorry, I sped ahead there. The rest of the upkeep phase, by the way, didn't apply. So we're in the impulse phase. We've played an action. We're going to do a leader action now on this group of units. And Lieutenant Hughes is going to do a ready action, which means we can reduce fatigue. We can't reduce the one that's just got on there, but the one we had on previously, before the move, we can remove. Fortunately, no, Lieutenant Hughes is now spent. And to do that, we have to discard another card. I think we'll get rid of this card. And I've just remembered, because they've got a move action, they can do a free make smoke action because they have the smoke icon on them. I'm just checking, but I think that smoke has to be in this sector, as they're not actually moving into a new one. They're looking around in this sector, but it would be handy if we can pop some smoke to give us a bit of cover in that clear terrain. Yes, it looks like we can, but as we saw last time, it's not automatic. We have to draw an action card, and we need a 4+ for the smoke to be successful. So fingers crossed. Oh, look at that, 6. So we're going to be popping smoke into that sector, and that will give us a 1 defensive modifier, which is better than nothing. I think that's all we can do. There are no spent units. We've done all our leader actions. So we now draw up to our 5 cards, and we get a rally and an assault action. And that's it. Hopefully that's correct. Put that on there to remind me. It is now the Germans' go. So here we are. Here's their upkeep flowchart. No melee or overruns. Resolve terrain placement. No. There isn't a move in AEO. Thank goodness I don't possess any more terrain cards. No. AEO possesses terrain card for blocking or degrading line of sight. No. Blazing terrain morale checks. Ready all spent leaders. So Lieutenant Anditch can go back unspent, and the rest doesn't apply. Buttoning up, transferring support weapons and combining half squads. No, so we're going to the impulse phase. So we're throwing 2 dice. Let's put it there. Oh, double 1. This might be a short game. It's a sniper attack. This isn't good. We have to, of course, first discard a card. Always forget to do that. And I believe we have to add one of these sort of blank 1 cards to the discard pile. It says this blank card is used to determine a future D6 result, or can be discarded to be used as a spent action listed on the unit's action list if it is in your hand. So what happens now? Well, it's slightly different for the AEO. It says in the solo rules, if a sniper action is executed, the AEO will target a sector of PUs, player units, closest to an artificial enemy opponent, the AEO. That's going to be these, I think, or is it these? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Oh dear. Hold on. I think this squad may live to fight another day, because checking this player aid, the player may target any sector except smoke and buttoned armoured fighting vehicles. So they're off the hook. So we'll pop that back for a moment. And so the sniper is here, targeting these. Now the thing is, I've already drawn cards to see which unit was attacked. So what I'll do, rather than doing some more discards, is I'll just throw a dice. So I can't remember what I drew for this this lot here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's Sergeant Angrave. No. So the sniper now fires at Sergeant Angrave with a 2d6 fire attack, I assume, because he's in this sector with this leader, Lieutenant Andish. He can add 1 to it. I don't think there are any more DRMs. Let's have a check. No, they're not moving. We're not firing through degraded. We're not firing at a range of 1. We've done the leader modifier, and the others are for machine guns and armoured fighting vehicles. So this sniper gets a +1. It's a 4. And another 4. So that's 8 +1 for the leader, 9. Now we get a +3 because we're in a wood building. So fingers crossed. Oh, yes. 6 +3 is 9. Bit of a useless sniper, but we now have to see what happens to that sniper card. I shouldn't have discarded it immediately. We look on this sniper status result, draw another card, and we get a 4. And yes, as you were, it is discarded. So it goes back in the discard pile to become part of the turn 2 deck. Right, the action cards have not been exhausted, so we're on to the next turn. So before we do the Brits' turn, yes, made a few mistakes. Lieutenant Hughes, because of the misunderstanding with the sniper, he's been spent. Also, I can only remove fatigue from 1 unit. And the other thing about the sniper, these cards aren't the ones that get discarded. There's a possibility it's actually the sniper card, and that little table tells you what to do with those and whether or not to put one of those in the discard pile. But as you saw, it's just a discard, which would have been this this card if it had been a real player. So apologies, I told you there would be some mistakes because I haven't got back to this for a little while. But nil desperandum, we'll carry on with the Brits. So looking at the upkeep phase, the next thing we're going to do is resolve the movement, because as you saw earlier, these units have got an in-sector move. We've got this, and I believe what happens now is the clear terrain is replaced with the wood building. Lieutenant Hughes and his squads have finally found it, and I believe the smoke remains because they're in the same sector. So they're scrabbling into that wood building. Nothing else applies except to ready spent leaders. And this is where Lieutenant Hughes is turned back. And now we decide what action we're doing with the Brits. So let's use, I think, a fire action. Now my plan, such as it is to use this fire action on this group here, because I want to use Lieutenant Hughes's ability to ready this unit for next time to maybe fire on the Germans guarding the bridge, because we can't use the modifier if it's spent, I believe. So we'll do that now and put that back to 1. We're going to use the fire action with this group, as I said, firing on these guys. So let's see what we've got. A couple of squads, one with the Piat. So I believe these are conducted separately. We're going to have the Piat fire separately, and these two squads firing together. We have a range of 3. 1, 2, 3, firing at these units behind the stone wall. Don't know if I mentioned it last time, but I think you pick one of the units to be the lead unit and halve the rest, rounding up, so it still adds up to 2. We can use Sergeant Angrave's leadership modifier for these or these, I think. So we're going to use it to add 1 to this attack. I don't think there are any other modifiers. If we look on the table here, this is the only one that is applicable. They're not moving, we're not firing through degraded, and we're not firing a range of 1. So we've got a firepower total of 3. We now add a d6 to that. Fingers crossed. 3. That's a total of 6. Oh dear. They're going to pick an action card. They're going to add 2 to it. Oh dear. No. Bounces off the wall. Both units do, of course, get a fatigue. Now we'll try the Piet, just because we haven't tried it. We're 3 spaces away. So we're in this yellow sector, which is for 3 to 5 sectors away. The red one, by the way, is for 1 to 2 sectors. And as you can see on the white, is 6+, but can't reach. So first we've got to see if we hit, and we need to get 4 or less. Again, there are no modifiers. We can't use the leader. We now have to conduct a 2d6 check, and we've got to try and get under 4 with 2 cards. Oh dear. Right, I've cut in here because when I did the Piat attack, I did it incorrectly. Yes, it's a 2d6 draw on the cards, but I neglected to add on the defensive modifier of the terrain the Germans are in. So I actually drew 4 and then proceeded to go on and do the sort of to hit value and then added on this. We still missed, but I thought I'd do it again to show you how it actually is supposed to go. So we're going to draw 2 cards, 2d6. We're going to add on the defensive modifier of the stone wall, and we've still got to get 4 or less. So not a great chance, and I think we're going to have to start moving these up so things like the Piat are more effective. But here we go. 3. 5. No, that's 8 plus the 2, 10. Pings off the wall. If we had scored a hit, we would have then done another d6 draw of the cards and added on this black number as we're targeting soft infantry, and they would have defended with a single d6 draw, no modifiers this time. So there we are, a bit of a damp squib with the Piat there, but I wanted to redo it just to hopefully do it properly. So back to the video. That's all we can do. We can't use Sergeant Angrave's rally because nobody is shaken. So that's it. The action deck is still unexhausted. So it's over to the Germans. Over to the upkeep phase. Let's just tidy that up a bit. Resolve melee overruns, no. Resolve terrain placement, no. They aren't moving. They don't have any terrain cards. No shaken units. I think this might be it. Spent, no, they're already readied. And that's it. Right, up to the impulse phase. Pop it there. Oh, so it's going to be another double 1. 1 and a 4. They're going to move and then get a case of the wind. Right. So looking at the rules, the wind icon is resolved before any other action. And the wind icon removes all smoke markers from the board. But it served its purpose. And now they're going to move. So once again, being defensive, I don't think much is going to happen. Select AEO sector with less fatigue. None of them have got fatigue. They're not in wire mines or negative terrain. Not shaken. AEO within range of player unit firepower greater than AEO defensive modifier. No, don't think it is greater than. AEO in line of sight of player unit. They all are. AEO units in stack loaded in transport, no. So we're going to do unit spend or discard. We did that last time. So here we are. Order referred from other flowchart, yes. Spend selected AEO from previous charts, so that's what we're going to do. Pick a unit and spend it. AEO shaken, no. AEO have the assault icon. That's going to be the little grenade. Just check here. No, these are all going to be the same, I think. The MG doesn't. No. So here is no. Is the AEO in wire, mines, negative or 0 DRM? No. Player unit in line of sight and range. These have got a range of 3. 1, 2, 3, yes. And these. It's got 5. Three. So, yeah, no wire. They're in line of sight and range. Is the AEO firepower greater than the player unit defensive modifier? One. Well, 3. It'll be 4, 5, which is greater than the 3 for this wood building. And this one got 1, 4, 5 again, and then this. But in the rules for the solo bot, if the action is a unit action, which is going to be, and a sector is selected with a stack of units with equal fatigue levels, the selected AEO will be in the following order: armoured fighting vehicles, infantry, then weapons team. So it's going to be the infantry here with their support weapon, or the infantry here with their support weapon. So what we'll do it random, odd, even. It's odd, it's going to be these guys. So these are going to be spent. They don't get a fatigue. We're going to be adding Lieutenant Andersch's leader modifier on, so that becomes a 2, plus the 3 here is 5. There are no other modifiers that I can see. So a D6 fire attack. Oh no, 6 plus 5 is 11. Dear oh dear. But they drew a natural 6, so there is a possibility that they may be out of ammo. But in this case, I don't think it'll make a lot of difference. To see if they're out of ammo, the lead attacking unit, which was this one, of course, has to draw another card. If it's a 6 again, they are out of ammo. Look, it is. And they would become spent, but they're already spent, so nothing happens. There are no counters for out of ammo, I believe, and they will get back to normal, ammo-wise, when they are readied. But that still means there is 11 firepower coming towards this lot here. Let's see what we get. 4 plus their 3 for the wood building, that's 7, which gives a difference of 4. 11 minus 7. I've cut in here because, well, a couple of reasons really. A, so you can see it a bit better, but B, because once again, made a bit of a mistake doing this damage check on the Brits. I'm thinking it's a morale check where you draw 2d6 and try and get under their morale value. But no, it's a damage check of 1d6 against their morale. So I started to do it that way, realized I was doing it wrong, so I've rewound, didn't get too far into it, so no damage done. Also, I think I mentioned in the video when the Germans fired on the Brits didn't get a +2 concealed modifier because as they had fired, they are spotted, of course. So that was correct. So now we're doing a d6 damage check, but unfortunately we're adding the difference between the two results from the attacker and the defender, which was 4. If the result is greater than their morale, then these units will be shaken. So we've got to check every one. Let's do Sergeant Angrave. Let's move the Piat over there for a minute. They've all got a morale of 6. So we'll do the Sergeant first. 5 plus 4 is 9. Sergeant Angrave is shaken. Now this squad here. Come on. 1 plus the 4 is 5. Good. That's under the morale value. They're okay. Now this one. Let's have another low number. Come on. Oh, no. 6 plus 4 is 10. That unit is shaken. Dear, oh dear. I also forgot to discard a card when the Germans started their turn, and also when they spent this unit, so I've discarded those 2 cards. Hopefully we've caught up and everything's tickety-boo. Quite a successful turn for the Germans, but a devastatingly bad one for the Brits. All we've got to do now is check the turn end phase. No, we've still got cards, even though they are being depleted at a rate of knots. And so we're ready to do it all again. But I tell you what, I think I'm going to leave it there. We'll just remove these. I want to make sure that after my period of abstinence from this game that I've caught most of the rules. So we'll see if we get any comments about that and we can put those right before the next video. But I hope you're still enjoying it and you're finding it interesting. If you are and you haven't done so already, have a think about subscribing, because it really does help the channel. The other thing that really helps is pushing that like button, the thumbs up underneath the video. And if you want to be informed of other content the channel uploads, then push the bell and make sure you push all notifications. As I said earlier, leave a comment. I'm still thoroughly enjoying this game and I'm glad to be back on it. But let me know if there are any misplays. Put a comment and that'll help everybody, especially me, to make things run smoothly. And of course, a big thank you to all my subscribers. Thank you very much. And just before I go, if you wish to support the channel a little bit further, well, now you can buy the channel a coffee, and a link for that is in the description, or you can push the super thanks button underneath this video, either of which, if you decide to do that, greatly helps the channel to keep ticking along, so thank you. Right then, I think next turn we've got some problems with these units up here that are shaken. So we may have to waste a turn trying to get at least the leader unshaken so he can get this unit back to normal. But as I said, the cards are running out for the first turn. These, I think, will have to start pushing forward, or we may try another fire action with these to see if we can make a dent in those units guarding the bridge. We'll have to see. And for that, you'll have to wait for the next video. So until then, as always, you take care and goodbye.